Kelly, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Michelle.
I am going to have you introduce yourself. I was lucky enough to meet you finally in person because we've gone back and forth. We both are on Gift for Life board. So it was nice to meet you in person at the show, but give everyone a little bit of background on yourself and your title and the brand that you work for.
Okay, so I'm Kelly Bristol, and I'm Vice President of Business Development at Just Gotta Have It, which is a B2B Sales Representative Agency covering 36 states across the United States. So we've got 5 different divisions that represent brands all across the U.S.
And how many showrooms do you guys have?
We have 3. So we have 2 in Atlanta. One is for our gift division, and that's by Building 2 on the 17th floor by the escalators. And we just opened our lifestyle showroom this past July on the same floor by the elevators. So we've got 2 anchor positions in our gift team and our lifestyle team, and the products they represent are in those 2 different showrooms.
Oh, I love that. I didn't realize you had a second one in Atlanta.
Yeah, it just opened this July and it's beautiful. Literally blood, sweat, and tears. We didn't get occupancy of it until like April 15th or after, right before the July show. So like our creative director killed himself and killed it.
Wow. Yeah, I saw him when he got to Vegas. I'm like, how are you doing? He's like,
all right, Daniel. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
phenomenal job.
For the people that, I know the retailers come and see the showrooms when they're done, but they don't realize when you're taking on a brand new showroom, you're literally starting at 0 and the fixtures have to go in and the product, there's a whole lot. It's like
you have to, scrape floors, scrape, material, just everything, and maybe even reposition where electrical goes. So the other showroom. So Daniel does that, right, for July, and the show is in between Atlanta and Vegas are so close. He stays for a couple days, hops on a plane, and does the finishing zhuzhing on the showroom in Vegas, which is also beautiful and in a great location on the 10th floor by the elevators and escalators. So it's a lot of work for him, heavy lifting, but you don't know what goes into it. You just walk into this beautiful oasis, right?
Yeah, no one. And I know because my retailers follow me when I'm doing setups for Stephen Young, or if I'm doing setups for sales producers on the same floor for you guys. But so they kind of can see it, but to take occupancy in April for a July show I think I would have a heart attack. That's all I'm going to say. So we are here talking today about the thing that everybody's talking about. And I'm so glad we're doing it because there is a movement going on right now that I think is incredibly important, which is reps are local too. And I had said it on my podcast, I've said it on my Instagram, that retail is a biosphere in itself. And it is, we are competing against the Amazons. We're competing against so many things. And then the wholesale end of it as well is competing for, the customer, the dollar, the orders. And reps are local. Reps are the thing that has been in the industry forever, the wheels of the machine that move the industry forward. All of us go and buy it. But it's a biosphere that also incorporates what I do. I've said to people that, showrooms depend on orders, reps depend on orders, salaries, they pay for mortgages, they have livelihoods. For the showroom, they pay for all the amazing displays. They pay for all of if you're going to expand, all of it is encompassed in orders from stores. And we all know that fair is out there, and we all know that fair is, there's a place for it, I think, in its own, but there is a difference of going through your rep agency and the bonuses that you have. So important. So that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah. So thank you. Yep. I'm the co-founder of Reps Are Local Too, along with my colleague and friend, Angela Schmuck from Roadrunners. So we started this we had a conversation in May, and, it took off. and running. Really, we launched it in June, just ahead of the summer market season. And we've had a lot of support from, we have over 50 rep agencies participating and some independent reps too in spreading the word, but also the market centers have supported us with our drumbeat. So we were gratified and pinch me, I must be dreaming kind of, to see just like the swell of support and happiness about this. We've given, life to a sentiment that's been out there, especially for the reps. Like, it's so powerful for them to see that, their agencies and their industry really cares about them and their livelihoods. The landscape has changed. We have another player there, right? But, they've built careers in creating relationships with their retail customers, and careers, livelihoods, friendships. It's all about those connections. And so, to have something else coming into it that they haven't, been equipped to handle really, or even know how to talk about. Yeah. So this is, we're giving that power there, I suppose, or giving it legs or whatever.
So I had said, because I've been talking about it for a while, that, I always coined, Kate Duff did as well, or I had her on the podcast, her episode.
That was a great podcast. I love Kate, work with Kate, and she's on our board, right, of Gift for Life.
Amazing. I love her. But she had said, I can only akin it to, it is like your customer walking in your store and looking at something you sell and maybe asking a question and then jumping on Amazon and ordering it on Amazon. And sometimes they do it like in the store, or they'll or the press. And it's, I know other reps that have used that phrase to some of their retailers, and they're like, no, it's not the same. And it is in a sense, because they're basically, what I don't think retailers understand is that, well, there's the obvious. You have a real person taking care of you. You have a real person that I interviewed Cursive yesterday, and he had said,
oh my gosh, Michael.
I love him so much.
Me too. I live in New York City. I go to the store all the time.
No, sorry, not Michael, from Curious, but Michael was on a few. Michael's coming up, okay, doing a retailer roundup, and I'm bringing Michael back on, but Curious in Hermosa Beach. But he had said, there's new stores popping up all the time. And he did say, for the retailers that have been in these communities for a long time, like for the most part, while retail is competitive, they all know each other. They all respect each other. They understand when somebody's had a line like Voluspa forever. And there's obviously a new generation of retailers that are moving in that don't know the landscape, that maybe want a line and will go directly to Fair and order it and bypass the rep altogether. The rep doesn't know, because the reps, I don't think the retailers understand. The reps do not know if the order's been placed through a third party.
Right.
So
they're not getting that data in a timely fashion at best. You know what I mean? Otherwise, they're not getting it.
For it, from what I understand, so he had gone down the street to a new retailer, and there was a line that, actually, I take it back. He was watching their Instagram, and they were showing a card line that he's done forever with and done deep. And he went to the rep and he's like, hey, what is going on? Like, this is our line. We've had it forever. She didn't know. So then they had to go to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer was like, I had no idea, that it was a thing
that protection of, the best customer. And I think that's best customer is really important to say here, because, one of the things that reps will do with a brand is bring it to the store that will perform best with that product line too. And that's conversely, that means that the rep's not bringing something that won't work in a store, or wouldn't bring product that is in another store, because then you're creating this weird competition on the street and neither party wins. Neither store is going to win in that equation. In fact, they might anger a brand or somebody, and, they both lose it. It takes away the specialness too. So,
you want zip code protection, and I know there's going to be crossover because all of us are shopping from the same gene pool. Like we all are. We all go to the same shows. But but
right.
your reps have your back. And while the other brand will say, now they've started, I guess they gave zip code protection in the beginning and then they pulled it back and took it away. And then now they're offering it, but your minimums, from what I understand, because I put it out there to Instagram, which we'll go over some of the texts that I got in DMs. But they put it out like, you can have zip code protection.
But the minimum is so high.
Minimum. Yes.
Ridiculous. Yeah. It's not even friendly.
So talk a little bit more about the benefits of obviously going with your local rep and, creating that relationship.
To me, kind of the best part of this is that when you're working with a rep, well, first of all, for any new retailers out there, and I didn't even think to say this earlier conversations, but because I think us old, I'm the old gal, never mind. But this old gal knows. I'm the same age as you.
Okay.
We'll have to compare birthdays later. So, working with a rep is free. It's free. And I think that I've come to the realization in this process that there are new retailers out there who've asked the question, like, what does it cost me to work with a rep? Oh my gosh, nothing. They come to your store and, create this wonderful relationship. I'm a relationship type person, so that matters to me. But, they're bringing with them so much industry knowledge, wisdom, product knowledge. They're trained to talk about the line. They're an extension of the brand, and they can go into a retailer and tell them all the benefits of, whatever it is that they're representing to them. And also, if they, come to know your store, they start to make recommendations based on, what's selling, your demographic, whatever. I was talking to one of our reps in the Northeast region. She's way up in, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. And she carries, some of what is a bestseller for a brand might not necessarily be a bestseller in her region. And she knows this, she's going to pick the lobsters, not the cats. She's going to pick the crabs, not the, whatevers, because it's going to sell in her territory a lot better. So they bring, that kind of knowledge. And instead of, just being presented with something and you click on bestsellers, you might be ordering the wrong thing for your store. Your rep's going to know. Your rep has the data from their huge territory. These reps cover hundreds of miles in their territory, and they're seeing hundreds of stores. So they have a real sense of what's working where you live. Plus, they live where you do. They live in your area. They shop in your stores. A lot of them, they'll buy when they're shopping too. Sounds crazy, but
I know, like you're not around enough of it all day.
I know, right?
The other part of having the reps and other services they provide, which Kate had talked about, and you had just talked about, we talked about off camera, is that I don't think people lean into their reps as much. Like a lot of people, I've heard it from reps too, that I've gone and called on them and they're always so rushed. They never have time to, they never take my call, or, the store brushes me off when I go in. Those are the people that haven't leaned into the relationship. Like your rep, not only with knowing having your back for zip code protection and then understanding what will sell and won't sell, your rep also can come in and do inventory for her product. And if you're on a POS system, we talked about this off camera, and if you're not, you should get on a POS system. But for those who aren't, and you don't have reports to go by, and you don't have a report to pull up and look at and see directly what your sell-through has been, your rep will go in, and when she has time given, obviously, but they will go in and go do inventory and do a soft order for you, and you sign off on it. This is what you're sold out of. And a lot of stores do not know when they sold out of stuff because they either have multiple locations, or they're not on the floor, or they don't have reports, or you're so busy. You don't.
So many reasons. They're so busy, right? Like you said, multiple stores. So they're not always in the, same place at one time, obviously. So you can make an appointment with your rep to do exactly that. We have a rep, Mary, up in the Northeast also, and she has a standing appointment with one of her retailers once a month. She is in there on the floor on the ladders, taking inventory for that store. And she's using the product catalogs and going through the physical catalogs and going through them and saying, like, you need more of this, that, and the other thing. And just like you said, Michelle, the retailer is signing off on the order. And then Mary goes home and, keys it all in and does all the dirty work, if you will, places that order so that, the retailer is free for other of her, business activities. I think there's lots of reasons to lean into your rep. They also know about specials. They know about thresholds of ordering where you might tip into, free freight or discounts, things like that. They also know that is not online anywhere. They know what's coming. They know what's coming next. So you have an appointment with your rep. She probably already knows what she's going to be able to offer you 1, 2, 3 months down the road and can help you be prepared for bringing that assortment into the store when it's available. You can't do that, when you're just clicking around because you just don't have that wealth of information. You don't have that intelligence. I think that also helps. That's an inventory management right there, because if you know what's coming, you can make sure that what you have in the store is the right amount, the right mix, and your shelves will be ready to add to it when the new stuff comes in, and you won't have to have a fire sale.
Yeah. This is, I can always think like personal care, like when Times introduces a new scent or a new scent or a new item to an existing scent, like Fraser Fir or something like that, like where you're going to order it regardless. It's coming down the pipeline and it's coming in. It's like, at least they can help you prepare for something like that. I always think of that for personal care lines, especially like.
Right. It's like a time management thing, really, as well.
The other thing too is like what Kate had said, like if you have something and you've sat on it for a long time, you can go to your rep and ask if they will, can we return it and get a credit that goes back to merchandise? And a lot of manufacturers would do that. And I know in apparel, I've heard about that, but I didn't realize with gift as well. It's like, hey, I'm sitting on this. It's not going to do the rep any good and it's not going to do your store any good. So a lot of times the manufacturer can take it back and they would give you whatever the credit's called.
Some kind of a credit for, right.
It's not your whole purchase, but it is.
Like maybe you could get 30% or, yeah.
You can put it towards new inventory, but your rep also helps facilitate that, as well as, which we've done a few times, your reps can go in. Like if you're having like, for instance, we were supposed to film in Daisy's last year, I think. And for whatever, I forget why we had to cancel, but Barbara, in getting her store ready,
Barbara
had her, I love her. Barbara,
she's great.
Her rep came in. So Carla from Stephen Young came in, helped her with the store, helped her organize it, helped merchandise it. Like Christy from Kina goes in her accounts and helps merchandise. Like your reps are there. And these again are relationship bonding things, like where, as you work with your rep and as you build a relationship, your rep will certainly have your back. And the more that you are friends or friendly, and it becomes more of somebody helping your friend. Cause I'm always blown away, like to see Christy like in stores merchandising, and she's a damn good merchandiser, and she's there doing it because it helps her retailer. And then it, in turn, it helps her, because it helps make her product look good, which has a better sell through. But by far and large, it's an extra set of hands helping you in times that you would not have going the other direction.
Right. And they're willing, and able to do it and enjoy that time with the retailer. I think that it is so invaluable. Again, it's free, and these reps become an extension of your, part of your business. When they're on those shelves, rearranging things, they're seeing things, in a different way than a retailer may not see. And they get to, they're synthesizing what's moving, what's not in that way, because they're actually like interacting with the product.
I put it out to Instagram for people to give me pros and cons. And because I always believe there's always two sides. And I know there are retailers that are hardcore. I can't stand fair. I don't want it's like I said, it is an ease of something. It does have its place. It's great for finding new things. I've run into issues with it because some of the vendors are so new that they're too new and things come in late or they're way behind production because it's just her doing the
starting to remind me of Etsy wholesale.
Yeah. I mean,
remember that?
Oh God, I luckily I didn't go down that road, but I'm going to read a couple of them that both go both ways. So, one of our stores, I don't even know if I should be mentioning the stores, but,
maybe not.
I've been shopping gift markets since 2001, owned many gift stores. What Fair offers to me is flexibility, order on my own time. Mostly it's after 10 p.m. when I'm in bed. I can't begin to tell you, number one, how many of you people order in the middle of the night in bed.
I know, with their wine. That's what I would be doing. Definitely
free shipping is huge.
Yeah.
And I like my invoices. They're all sitting in one place on the app. So many times I've attended gift shows. As well. Yes, I have regular reps, but some reps get my address wrong or don't email me the receipts, which I've had that as well. And heaven forbid I have issues with my order, something and it's missing or damaged. Fair asks no questions. They make it right and they don't have to wait. Well, they don't always make it right. And sometimes getting it returned. I mean, I've had issues where the manufacturer stopped. She sold out of it. There wasn't another replacement and she had to cancel out my entire order and we had to rewrite the order. So there are little glitches, but that was, she's like, and some of the reps don't reply back to my emails. So that's one of them.
So there was a few you mentioned. So the one who's been walking shows since 2001 and likes to stay in bed and order online or, do it in her off time, like from 10 to midnight or whatever. I think a lot of people like to do that. What, maybe is missing here is that I think the experience is better when you're going to your rep's website and shopping their own online experience, their own online store. Most of us are on the same platform, and you can shop on a rep's website and page through instead of looking at one by one product organized alphabetically or something. You can literally go into a catalog and order from the catalog. And when you click on it, the minimum's going to be hit and you click on it again and the next increment, goes in there and you build your order through the catalog. And not only are you looking at, the product assortment of the brand, but you're getting like the mood, because it has beautiful photography and you're seeing it by collection. You're not seeing it in, a static one by one order. So shopping by catalog, I think, is an underused maybe feature that most of us have on our sites.
I know everyone's like, I don't want to jump from site to site, but in the sense of the fact that Fairly offers like a small portion of what is available where it's when you are ordering from the catalog, you see the whole thing and the whole catalog, because lines are so big, it is not offered on Fair, the entire collection. So you're only
a lot of people don't. Yeah. I talk to brands all the time who use Fair for dumping product.
Yeah. And but I get the ease of going to one place. I do understand that because I will admit I shop for Rock Paradise on there and it's for lines that I can't and that's I want to back up 1 second. When I go and utilize Fair, it is solely for lines that I don't buy through reps because I am loyal to our reps because I really believe that if you wrote that order with Fine Lines or Just Got Habit or Sales Producers or Stephen Young, I truly believe your orders should always run through them, whether it's an ease of saying I utilize the other for new and for smaller brands and stuff I can't get somewhere else. It's like when I go to the shows, I don't stop and I can write my reps orders anytime. Like you can.
And I think that, that, that platform has fair. I'll say it. It has really, it has been for a while. I think it's getting overloaded, but like, I do think that it provided an opportunity for brands to launch who weren't ready for, working with reps. But I think, so it does prove to be a great place to find things that, you wouldn't find anywhere else, especially back in the day of the pandemic. There were, the shows weren't happening in the same way. So that was a great discovery place. But, as brands scale and grow, it can become ready for reps, and then they go with reps. And, when you see them there, you can continue on, I think, with the rep if you know the brand and now they're with a rep agency or your local rep carries the brand, order from your local rep because she probably has a lot more information than you can get through a click.
Yeah, absolutely. The other is I'm a fair user from way back when it was Indigo. I have many pro reasons, but I also have reps that I would protect to the end. I have 1,000 opinions on this subject, but as a user and a dedicated showgoer, I'm a user, but I'm also a dedicated showgoer.
Love her.
Oh, yeah. This is easy for small. Easy for small businesses starting out, so they can only order a few pieces at a time. That came up a lot. Is that because you're dealing with only 1/4 of the inventory the line may or may not have. The minimums are very low, and I don't think like $100 or $150 is the standard minimum for a lot of these brands. Like there are some brands that expect you to have at the show level, they expect you to have very big minimums. They're usually bigger lines. They usually want a footprint in your store. But by far and large, most of the brands that all of the showrooms sell, like 100, 150, 200 is the minimum. And when I'm going through the other, that seems to be about the minimum size anyway. So and everyone keeps saying the minimums are like so much lower, but I don't think they're that much lower, to be honest, or people don't realize how low it is on the other end, your end.
And honestly, right. The other thing a rep can do, ask the rep. And usually, the rep will go to the brand and the brand will say, yes, they will offer this retailer a lower threshold of entry into the brand just to get it in the store and to try it. So you can ask your rep if the brand is willing to do that. And more often than not, they are. So, I mean, how many times have you experienced that? Tons, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I also think that, brands set their minimums at a lower price point for a couple of reasons. I talk to brands, that my job is talking to brands all the time, right? And I'll talk to them, and if their minimum is, whatever, $250, and I'm like, well, what's your average order? Oh, is it 600, 800? It's like crazy, right? But, they want the lower minimum just because they want to be sure that the buyer feels that it's an accessible brand. Like, oh, I can write at least that. Once they start writing, it usually, especially if they're talking to the brand at the show or the rep at the show, it gets bigger because they realize, like, a candle line, well, I need this scent, in all of its sizes, or I need this to tell this story with this brand, and therefore 150 is not going to tell a story.
Literally never walked away under right. I go in going a couple lines. It was like, oh God, that's a lot. And then she's like, you're already at 1,000. Like, that, right? I'm all okay. I guess I made my minimum. Another cons of fair. You have to check pricing. I see some accounts there are reselling things I've seen on Temu. I have pricing on fair, and to cover the commission of pay.
Right.
So do a lot of the vendors offer the integrates with Shopify? That's a big one. A
lot of brands are doing that, and the platform that not to be so technical, but like most of us are using one of two platforms. Most of us agencies are using one of two platforms offered by MarketTime. MarketTime or Brandwise with the passport system. The Brandwise version is going away soon, and we're all going to be on MarketTime, but it's, it's an order platform, right? It's what powers our websites for shopping. The brands can tie in their Shopify. It's a connector. They can get this API connector, right? That allows that to flow into their system.
Okay, that's good to know. So that would be something, is that something the retailer asks? Like,
well, the brands do it so that the ordering goes through there. So I think, I don't know how it works for retailers. It works for brands, but like a retailer placing orders, I'm not that technical, Michelle.
I'm why I'm asking this, I don't know, because I'm not tech.
And we're still on the Brandwise platform. We're moving to MarketTime very soon.
One thing that has come up, which, I have reps that I absolutely love, that are always there, that always call, that make sure their appointments. But I have reps that never, like when I was buying for Burt's, we had 5 stores, and my reps, like I had reps that would never call. And then you go to the showroom and you're like, hey, hi, I'm here. And they're like, oh, so sorry. I'd love to see, but I'm totally booked. And it's like, I have 5 stores. Like, why would you not? And that's one of the things, like I order for fair when a rep of a company does nothing for me, especially if they don't come in my shop and they don't.
That's such a frustrating experience. I got to validate that for sure, and hopefully, that's more rare than what this person has experienced. But yeah, totally frustrating.
And she said, if a rep works on representing me properly, I totally go through them regardless if fair offers me a better deal or not. And that's
I love her.
I'm trying to see the other one. Sorry if you're watching this on YouTube, you see me looking down, I'm scrolling through all these. I've done that before. And my girlfriend's like, what are you doing? You look like you're so distracted. You're not even listening to the guest. I'm like, I am, but I'm looking at pictures. But I think that it seems like the biggest is the ease of shopping in the middle of the night from your bed. But if you go to your reps, they have the website. So that is available. I know it's not.
I think it's a better experience because it's catalogs. You've got the catalogs there.
Thing.
Yeah.
But also, really, it's about the relationship. Like the whole. I think that if you lean into your rep and you really, I have hiccups. I'm sorry. Really look to them to not thinking about it as somebody I just order from, and you really look at it as somebody that is there to help you and protect you. For your reps that really do that, I think really that is where the difference is. 100% down through. I have no problem missing show specials or something like that if I go through the other, because I know I'm my friend Christy or Jill from Stephen Young or Karen from Just Gotta Have It. If I know they're taking care of me, and I'm like whatever.
I think it's human. You've got a person there, right? And these people literally care about your store. Obviously the ones that are going to your store. Sorry for that lady, but the rep wants your store to succeed. They're not going to sell you things that won't work because it's not to their benefit either. So it ends up being this really great relationship where you're like idea sharing and collaborating and talking about, goals and products and ideas, for the future. You can, plan events with your rep. You can create, whole theme areas in a store with your rep because they know what's in their repertoire. They know what they could bring you that maybe you haven't even bought yet because you're doing a, Valentine's Day, whatever, and they've got the perfect new thing.
And a lot of times, honestly, like I know Christy will do this where a lot of reps, like they might not sell it, but they're in their store and they know they're looking at what you're buying. A lot of reps will be like, oh, you should look at this line with so-and-so because it's perfect with this blah. Like they're not, your reps are also looking at they see everything. So they also, will tell you, I mean, like at least mine will say like, hey, you should look at this. It's a really good line. I don't rep it, but I know that blah, blah, blah reps it.
We should embrace that. And I think we are, as an industry. You're right. They know each other. The reps who work for different agencies, like they're friends, they're bumping into each other at their appointments. Sometimes they're stacked one next to the other. And, they could be doing inventory next to each other too. Many of them are, now doing, little mini shows together in Florida. There was one that just happened in, give me a minute, Mississippi, I think it was, where, a bunch of reps from different agencies came together and showed the lines that they have on little tables. But these reps themselves rented the space, themselves sent out the postcards. Like they paid for all of that out of their own, money to do this, thing together. They're friends. So, I love seeing that kind of collaboration in the industry. And that's kind of what Reps Are Local too is all about. It's about uplifting everyone, lifting, retailers, lifting reps, lifting brands in, what we're doing. It's not, I've loved this industry because of its spirit of conviviality and, loving each other. We see each other.
It is all family.
It's family.
And it's like, for me, like I said, like when we were off camera, is that I have been in this industry on both sides for 40 plus years. And now that for the most part, I am on the wholesale end doing setups. And it's like the wholesale end, my family, the wholesale end, like I start showroom setups most of the times before everyone's there, because most people come in like the week before the show and unless it's a showroom opening. So I'm there by myself, and then little by little, Jessica Hobbit comes in, little by little, Kina crew comes in, and Roadrunner crew comes in. And it truly is like family. Like all of us know each other. So your reps really, when they are looking out for you, not only for their own lines, they're also there for you to help their other friends and their other showrooms. Because while it's a competitive industry, we all work together because again, it is one little biosphere that we have, like this industry, wholesale and retail. And I've always said for retail, like if we do not stand together and build each other up as far as like in retail, like where a lot of retailers don't want to share secrets and whatnot, like they want to be the only store that's like the best store on the block. You want everyone on your block to be equally strong. And same thing as our industry, because if one is not as strong as the other, or they're weak. It's like the weaker gets, and then we start closing, and then and that's the thing. It's like it is getting smaller, and you can see where showrooms have been closing, and I feel like if all the retailers and everybody came out and supported the shows, I know they're expensive, I know travel and stuff like that, but I feel like then our industry, like the wholesale industry as a whole, would be busier and stronger, but it's hard.
My heart is beating like really out of my chest when you're talking. I'm about to well up. I'm very passionate about it too, Michelle. I feel like it's like this responsibility that we have to one another about keeping us all uplifted and keeping us all going. We are like, my heart is really, truly beating. We're a community, and I want to see everybody succeed because we all succeed together. You were talking about you don't want your neighbor to go out of business. No way. I was in Summit, New Jersey this past weekend. I forget. There's like a few streets together in the heart of the downtown. Man, is that city thriving, and it's got great restaurants. It's got great independent retail. It's got some, not independent retail on that street, and they're all going together. And I said to Larry, my fiance, it feels like that movie. Oh my gosh, I'm going to forget the name of the Christmas movie where with George, right? It's a Wonderful Life. There were people on the street. It's like, it was Saturday in August, hot. A lot of people could be on the beach. People were out and about at the restaurants and shopping, and we were passing each other just like in an old movie, and not one store was empty. That's the kind of, community that I think is amazing. And I think
that is truly why you want your downtown. You don't want to be the only one in the game. You want your downtown, just as the wholesale industry, we want our downtown to be busy and thriving, because the bottom line is, like, if showrooms can't afford it and there isn't attendance or there aren't orders, those showrooms can't stay open. And when you go to shows and you're like, there's no showrooms here, there's no one's like, well, it's part of the ecosystem. If there aren't orders being placed, there isn't the ability to have merchandisers to do amazing displays for you to get inspired to come shopping, or showrooms like multiple. I mean, it all is part of this little biosphere that we're in. And
yeah,
I really truly hope that both in this conversation for the reps and for whatnot, like, I hope that there's things that the retailers brought up that the industry can tweak and change. And hopefully, if it is a minimum thing, hopefully if the sound got too big, maybe they will lower them. My hope is this conversation that both sides understand that, the wholesalers need the retailers as well. The retailers need the wholesalers, because believe me, you don't want wholesale showrooms to go away. At all.
We work and we work so hard. We're like mini trade shows inside of a trade show. We work so hard to find the right brand and the right mix that goes with the other, there's synergies inside of our showroom. Like, it's always, we think about line adjacencies when we're bringing a brand into our showroom, into our mix, our line package.
A little bit about that, so people understand that.
So, a rep agency will have, 30, 40, 50 brands, right, that they represent. And the thinking behind what they have is typically, we want to have enough so that our reps can call on a variety of stores. You can go on Main Street USA and sell to several of the stores on the street. Not the same thing, but, these 5 things to this store, these 10 things over here, right? So that, the rep is, having an effective day when she's out on her appointments on that street, rinse and repeat in the next, town, but also so that, when she's bringing things out of her trunk of her car, out of her proverbial bag to show them to a retailer, they all make sense together. Like, we, if we have, what can I give it as an example? But if you're carrying
merchandise beautifully, parts of Santa Barbara design merchandise beautifully with, now I'm forgetting lines, but the idea is that you can go into these bigger showrooms and write multiple lines, and they all have that element where they could all be merchandised together in the same store. So there's that flow. And so when you guys or showroom brands, there is purposely done. So there is flow for when the retailers go in, that there's flow for what they are looking for within their store.
Very purposeful. And I was in the trade show industry for a long time, meaning that I sold booth space at a trade show.
Wow.
Maybe Barbara knows. I worked 19 and a half years on the National Stationery Show.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. So I sold booth space, and that it mattered there too, where, we created neighborhoods so that, and believe me, some of these people are still friends. And it's like, we put those booths next to each other because we knew that the lines weren't too competitive to one another. I'm talking about cards here. So, the category was the same. So you had to look at other things. You want it to be a perfect flow where, like, you see this brand and right next to it and across from it is another brand that, like, would be perfect on the shelf next to it. And it makes the shopping for the retailer easy, fun, and it all sort of makes sense. And that's what's happening at the agency level too. we're making sure that all of the things, could easily be in one store.
How do you see the wholesale industry changing from all of these conversations now that it's kind of out there? Because this is, I'm being very bold by talking about it and saying the name, because everyone, that's like the elephant in the room. Like, we all know it, and I just believe, like, putting it out there.
Well, I did talk with one of the reps of Just Gotta Have It. Gosh, I'm trying to remember if it was in Atlanta or Vegas, but she told me it was in Atlanta. I know who said it. Sherry. Thank you, Sherry, if you're listening. She said that she thinks that she is seeing a return of some of her retailers placing orders with her as a result of this movement, Reps Are Local Too. And I'm like, gosh, thanks for sharing. So I think that it's just this like awareness, like, oh yeah, I really could place this order with my rep, and maybe I will, because I like her. And, it also will, when you do that, if you've strayed away from your rep into that another platform to order, when you reconnect with your rep, it gives her a reason to come back in your store and show you the new stuff, which if you've been not connected with her, you're probably missing out on some great things.
Well, I think also it's like, out of sight, out of mind. Your reps, after you don't contact them anymore. You don't go see them in the show, and you don't show up. I think that they kind of not forget, but it's like you obviously like have moved on, or it's like, because it is a relationship, and my hope is that the retailers understand how important it is, and how much easier a lot is. I know there is ease with the other. I totally am not taking that away, but there are a lot of bonuses. And I also don't think it's going away forever, but it certainly does skew it skews everything when it's not evenly balanced, if that even makes sense, of where you're shopping and where you are spending your money and where you are spending your time. Like it definitely skews, and that's where you start to see stuff kind of fray around the edges. And
yes, I do hear that the balance thing makes a lot of sense. And I think that, when you're ordering with, in our biosphere ecosystem, you're able to balance because your rep can provide that to you and say, like, you need a couple of more things to round out the offering or whatever. They're coming at it with a lot more knowledge than, clicking online can offer.
how would you like to end this conversation? Because I'm like trying to figure out like how to, because I'm so passionate about this. I could talk about it forever. And I listen to what the retailers have said too. And it's like, I guess like verklempt.
Yeah, I know. You really, tugged at my heartstrings there for sure. I think that it's just, it's nice to be nice to the nice. Where did that come from? But it's nice to be, we're a really special industry. I can't imagine being anywhere else. And if you have spent a good number of years in this industry, you probably know that and feel it firsthand. And I think it's just like, when we go to market, we're hugging each other, we're kissing each other, on the cheeks. We're happy to see each other. And like that can go on all year round when you're, spending time with your reps. I think you just get the best of, what you can offer. You've got somebody who wants your store to succeed, and having that proponent is super, uplifting, and just, it feels good, right? I think that, don't work in a silo. Don't be alone. Retail is not an industry of being alone.
No,
You have to like people.
You are alone. And that's why I think so many people like this podcast, because it's so lonely. We're in our store. And as I talked to a group of people last week, and I feel like retailers, you are by yourself all day in your store. You have your employees, you have your customers. But when you go home, your husband doesn't care that your Voluspa order's late or you're employed in. So it's lonely in that sense where, lean into your community of your reps of helping, asking for help, whether it's inventory or it's, I'm doing an event. Can you come down and do sampling, or can you come down and bring, they can order free giveaways for you, and you can use those in your, if you're doing a store opening or you're doing an event, like they can do stuff like that, or have them, ask to help extra set of hands. If it's like Christy with merchandising from Kino, or, your reps do so much more that I feel like has been unchecked, unnoticed, unrealized, tapped in potential that you have there at your fingertips of people who are willing and want to help.
Yeah. And it's not, just pen to paper. It's like, it's people, and you get to have that family with your reps.
What is next for the movement?
Ooh, wow. Good question. We are having a meeting next week, a big meeting with all of the different agencies. So we've got like this Zoom with over 50 people on it, to talk about, what our next steps are, because we launched it so close to summer market. We were like, let's just focus on, what we need to do right now is gaining visibility. So next, we're going to be talking about educational opportunities, and other, how to, keep this movement going, during the off season, and what our next goals are. So I can't share it yet because we're going to literally tackle it on Tuesday.
How did you guys, because I know the showrooms I'm in, like I was around it a lot, but how did you guys start getting the message out? For anybody who didn't go to the show, what did they miss?
Oh boy. A lot of visibility. The most, I will give, to be sequential a little bit, our first deadline, we had like a day, from concept to, getting it done, was an ad in Spark magazine with the Dallas Market Center. So their show's first in June, and they had the earliest deadline where we needed an ad, and we pulled it together very quickly and got in there. Coincidentally, this is kind of awesome. Spark magazine had their cover story was about reps. So our message tied in really well there. I talked to Cindy Morris, the CEO of the Dallas Market Center, about that when I saw her. Like, wow, that was great synergy. So we were, just delighted that happened. And a shout out to Greg, who worked with us on the ad. And then, then we worked with Gifts and Deck, and we worked with and more. Dorothy Belshaw is a wonderful friend to us. And we had created swag for our agencies to avail themselves to. Like, we created sort of a, help yourself to the menu for swag. So it included pins, badge ribbons, stickers, pens, and such. And so Dorothy and Moore and her team decided that, they have a big trade show with a lot of attendees, and they ordered our green ribbons that stick on the bottom of your show badge. And it was so amazing to see our badge, everybody walking around with these green ribbons on the bottoms of their badges at the shows. They did prize patrols where, if a retailer was spotted wearing the ribbon on their badge, they might win a free lunch. They allowed us to sponsor their opening events in both Atlanta and Las Vegas. And, we're talking with other groups in the toy and home industries about expanding our reach. So, that's like what might come, but we're super excited about that. So when you were on site, also, Seattle participated with signage and pins. So all of the New York Now had an ad in their directory. We basically had every show kind of, having visibility for the movement across, from June straight through August.
We, for sales producers, Bonnie had this is her 40th year. So her mom started sales producers, and Bonnie, for January show, we did a corner that was, all based on memorabilia of all the years of handwritten POs plus a slide. So we posted the Reps Are Local 2 poster right next to that corner that has, so it really kind of drove home the message. Because again, like, to have a rep agency and have some reps have been with some of these rep groups for 20 plus years. I mean,
they are career reps with a lot of knowledge. Yep. It's nice to celebrate them, right? In this way.
100%. Like, I wish, honestly, like, my hope is, and maybe talk about it when you have your 50-person thing, at each of these shows, that there is some kind of meet and greet where the reps are inviting their retailers and all these retailers and all these rep groups to have like one big meet and greet, whether it's a cocktail reception or, and that's what I really hope, where it brings everybody together and in multiple levels, because, as a rep, your same customers are with 5 or 6 different rep agencies. But think about like how great that would be to have everybody have at each show, one big meet and greet for like the big rep agencies and the retailers.
Yeah, we are volunteer run with day jobs. I couldn't be more grateful to our partners at all of the, the shows and the facilities that we, had their support and partnership, for this movement. So, that's a great idea. And I'm thinking like, oh, did I have to ask for that? Yeah. But, we
does coffee in the morning. So maybe it could be like, and the rep groups and the retailers all have a morning meet and greet with the coffee that's already there for all of us.
All right. Yeah, we'll have to work on that and riff on that. I love that idea. Thanks for sharing it. I think that it just, continues to support the community aspect of it all, for everybody to be together. We love those opportunities. And I think the reps would love the opportunity, agency to agency, to, spend time with one another, that isn't sort of away from the show, They'd love to do it during market. I mean, I know when I'm doing buying, I'm jumping from showroom to showroom, and I get to visit all my friends and all my reps and like the people that I know. I mean, what great place to be able to do it all together, like in a social environment. I'm just saying. Yeah. All right. I took notes with my Reps Are Local 2 pen.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Is there any last information you want to get out? And do you have social handles? Do you have a social media presence? Yes. Once again, thanking more people, but we do have a social media presence. And Maggie New from Diverse Marketing is handles all of that for us. So, already you can see like we've got different people from different agencies doing things together. So it's all of our stuff is Reps Are Local 2. So that's what it is on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And then our website is repsarelocal2.com. That one is more in its beginner stages because we have to determine, what we need to do with it still. But it has an area. It lists our participating agencies, and it also has an area where you can, if you have a question, write in and someone will answer you. So that's at its beginning stage, but follow our socials for sure. We're posting fun facts about, just what it is about local retail. Some of it is just facts about local retail and how many, jobs are affected by, working local, that kind of thing. Okay. So it's fun. And then, sometimes you'll see cameos of different reps talking about what the industry means to them. I love that. I think I was looking at that the other day I think you guys were filming during the show because it seemed like a lot of which is great. Thank you so much for bringing this to everybody. I am so appreciative of your time doing this because this is a volunteer thing, as you said, and you're taking in the middle of the afternoon on a busy day.
Well, we, are passionate about it, and we're so excited that it has resonated with the industry, and we're looking forward to seeing how it evolves. But I guess my last appeal is for retailers to remember to include your rep in the order. If you're looking to place an order, think of your rep first and ask if there's specials, ask if they have a line. Contact them. They'd be happy to hear from you.
Thank you so much.